I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we thank you once again for allowing us to assemble. We thank you for your goodness all day long. God, we ask for your divine directions and your instructions in all that we do. There are some decisions that has to be made, and sometimes they are hard decisions. But God, we ask for the wisdom to do it, the wisdom in it. And we'll give you praise for it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Mayor Hill.
Here.
Commissioner Boren. Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Campbell.
Present.
Commissioner Tammy McCaskill.
Here.
Denise Kemp.
Here.
Jeff Rawls.
In transit.
In transit. Thank you, Mayor.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. Moving forward at this time, has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from our March meeting?
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second by Commissioner Jones. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, we have recognitions. And so I was told not to do this, but in old fashion, we continue to do it just because sometimes we do what we want to do. So at this time, Ms. Lynch, if you would come forward. Huh?
Is this where we get to arm wrestle?
We do. And so, for those who aren't familiar, Cheryl Lynch and I have had a love-hate relationship over the last 6 years. And it's a relationship that's built on mutual respect. And one thing I will tell you is she won my respect. She worked her way through many challenging times. She worked tirelessly. Every person I sent to her to start a business out, she gave them full effort. And for that, we thank you. We thank you for your service to this community. And I've got a plaque that reads as follows. City of Palatka recognizes Cheryl Lynch for her 9 years of dedicated service to the citizens of the city of Palatka, presented this 12th day of April, 2021, Terrell Hill, Mayor. And I wanted to present you with this just to tell you thank you. We're gonna miss you. We love you, and we wish you the best in your future endeavors. And so.
I'm not a person of many words. I like to stay behind the scenes and make things happen, but I did want to come and say thank you very much for the years of support, the collaboration, the brainstorming, everything that we tried to do to figure out and problem solve for the community. I've been asked, what's the forecast going forward? And I see bright blue skies for Putnam County as a whole and the city of Palatka with everything that's going on. And truly appreciate the support that you gave to the SBDC program. As you know, I started out as a client, so I'm a true believer in what the SBDC does and thinks it's a great opportunity for the businesses in this community to continue to use going forward. So hopefully they'll find somebody even greater and better than me, and there'll be great more things to come in the future. So just thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any comments from the commission?
I would just like to say congratulations and thank you so much for your dedication to this community. I don't think we had a love-hate relationship like Mayor Hill, but I do believe that sometimes we can be a tough bunch, and through it all, you stuck it through and you've shown yourself. So again, we appreciate you. We appreciate everything that you've done to contribute to this community, and happy retirement.
And again, I share the same sentiments that Mayor Hill and Commissioner Campbell, but again, we want to thank you for the many years that you provided assistance to our community. just through all the tough times in terms of getting people who, just getting the people the help that they need during the tough times. And there's going to be some big shoes to fill. I don't know who's going to be your replacement, but again, we want to thank you for all you've done for us, and good luck in your future endeavors.
You got representatives from SPDC here as well.
I'm sorry. This is Commissioner McCaskill. Do you want me to share?
Go ahead, Commissioner. I'm sorry.
Hi, Cheryl. This is Commissioner McCaskill. Of course, I don't do good with farewells or goodbyes, but I want to thank you for all of your support and goodwill that you've shown not only to me, but for this community, to this community. Your warm smile in the audience is going to be missed, your kind heart, and your work ethic. So I would like to wish you much joy and happiness as you start your new chapter, or you're just going to relax. So thanks for all you've done, Cheryl, and all you do. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Anything else from the commission or the agency? Ms. Kemp?
Ms. Lynch, I would like to say congratulations to you and thank you for your service to the city.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't get a chance.
Hi, I finally got my microphone unmuted. Sorry. I can't tell you how helpful Cheryl has been to DPI and how much we are going to miss her, and helpful to me as a small business here in the community.
Definitely. She's going to be missed. In Houston, we're gonna look to SBDC to make sure that the standard is upheld. So, you have any comments? Yeah, yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, Houston Pullen, the regional director for the SBDC at UNF, covering the region that Putnam County and the city of Palaca are under. And I just have to say something real quick. First of all, Cheryl, thank you so much on behalf of the SBDC for everything that you've done for all of our clients and our team. Maybe something that, I just want to highlight to her accolades. Cheryl was the state star for Florida. How many years ago was that? 2 years ago? And to give you an idea of what that award entails, that award is given to the #1 employee of the SBDC program for the state of Florida. We have 9 regions. And in those regions, there's anywhere from 15 to 40 employees at an SBDC. And when you count all that up and you realize that she was selected as #1, where that's incredible. That's incredible work that she's been able to do. And it's a testament to everything that she's done right here in this community. So for me, having been here for 2 months and looking at this going, wow, we've got this fantastic employee who's been here for so long that's done such great things. We do have some ground to cover. We've got some shoes to fill. So we're excited to be able to honor her legacy and continue to move forward here in this community. And really, again, I just have to applaud and say thank you again to you, Cheryl, for all that you've done. Thank you.
And so with that being said, we're going to take your report out of order since I already have you up. If you want to move forward with your report under item number 410.
So we, for the SBDC program, we had a great quarter. And again, Cheryl's work that she's been able to do out here has been tremendous. As you'll see from the individual consulting, we've actually had 3 jobs created, retained out here from the consulting that's happened, and capital formation of $22.7 million that came in the form of infusion for different businesses and projects that happened right here in the county and the city. Number of new business starts. There was 1 business that was able to get started. We had number of individuals consulted, 34. Consulting hours, 230. Again, Cheryl has always been a worker. So we had a great quarter in that regard. And as you can see from the outreach, we had over 199 inquiries from phone and email. And in addition, 35 outreach events with 12,431 attendees from those outreach events. So tremendous work that has been able to be done out here in Palatka. And from a highlight perspective, Andrea Conover, owner of Azalea City Brewing Company, she actually was one of the clients that we highlighted in a meeting with Congresswoman Kamek, and along with our Florida SBDC network as we were doing our legislative visits last month. So again, just a testament to the great work that's been going on out here in the city of Palatka. But I'm open for any questions that you may have with reference to either the report or the SBDC and where we're headed.
Any questions from the commission? I know Commissioner Rawls, you're just kind of getting here. To let the record reflect, Commissioner Rawls has made it in and is present. We're just going over the SBDC report.
I've already seen it.
We can get you one. And so, any questions or highlights?
I apologize for my tardiness.
Any questions on the SBDC report? We definitely appreciate that. Thank you for the report. We look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, and
So I'm only doing this because I've known Cheryl since since the beginning of time with the SBDC. So, and he hasn't. So anyway, so we have, the benefit to what she's brought to our center has been really tremendous. She knows a lot about some things that a lot of our consultants don't know anything about. So we were always great partnerships. And, so her role in life was here in Putnam County and Palatka, but she supported everything that we did throughout our region. And that State Star Award is really big. I mean, she supported even more so. She wrote some export marketing plans for businesses. She worked heavy with the agricultural part of the state and helping people, get ag loans and things like that, develop strategies for that. And so, and do some export marketing plans for agriculture people too. We have some, great stories about our mobile assistance center where we came out after hurricanes and she had to drive the vehicle every now and then, just saying. But it was all really great experience when we dealt with the bridge loan program after Hurricanes Irma, Hurricane Michael, Hurricane Dorian, all those things. We couldn't have done it without Cheryl. So we will truly miss her. And so we're going to do everything we can to fill in here, but it'll be hard to fill in for us. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Ross, we've had comments from the agency. We knew you were going to have some comments because you've worked closely with Cheryl.
I actually met with Houston the other day at my office, and I told him the first time we spoke that he had some really large fields if he was going to attempt to fill that position in Putnam County, and whoever he got was really going to have to be invested in the community like Cheryl was with his. He was very invested. Spent a lot of time here, a lot of after hours time, and all the way through Hurricane COVID. Just valuable assets in the community. So you will be sorely missed.
Well, just to reiterate what Kathy Hagan, who's actually our associate director who oversees this region as well. Kathy, we're going to be moving quickly to hopefully get the right person in here. We don't want to just fill it with somebody, right? We want to make sure that we have the right candidate, the right person who's going to be able to come in and really start building upon the great work that's already been going. So we will definitely be back and make sure that you're in the loop every step of the way. So again, if you have any questions though, please feel free to reach out. Always happy to help with whatever you need.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And Ms. Lynch, sometimes we just don't listen, and we don't listen because it's earned. And again, thank you for your 9 years of commitment to this community. And we know that it doesn't stop just because the position changes. So again, thank you. Let's give her one more round of applause. Well deserved. Next up, public comments. Public comments will be limited to 2 minutes. No action will be taken on topics of discussion. If anyone is here to speak during public comment, you can fill out a yellow speaker's card in the back of the room, or you can dial 386-329-0100 extension 0. You can also use the YouTube chat function if you are watching virtually. We'll now open the floor for public comment. Is there anyone here for public comment? Seeing no one, we'll close public comment. There's nothing in YouTube chat.
No, Mayor, not at this time.
Thank you. Next up is our regular business, discussion of grant program revisions. Mr. Griffith.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Board members, following the last CRA board meeting, staff went over our notes and your recommendations on revisions to the residential rehab and now titled emergency grant program. We did send out one last revision earlier today that included, just to summarize, on page 2, we struck the sentence under the first paragraph, program description. If a property owner wishes to restore, rehabilitate their unoccupied property, which is not their primary residence, with the intent to sell, program funding will be applied as a loan, which will be returned in full to the South Tax Increment District Fund at closing. We struck that because it was not consistent with the recommendations that we presented to you at the previous meetings. We don't operate loan programs. These are grant programs. So in discussion with Mr. Holmes and Ms. Thomas, we decided to make that recommendation. And the second adjustment would be on page 405. We increased the minimum score for a project to be eligible from 50 to 70 points. 4 of 5, yes, sir.
Should be 4 of 4.
We, underneath the selection and evaluation criteria, we increased the minimum points from 50 to 70 to be eligible. We believe this is consistent with your recommendations at the last meeting. We're here to answer any questions.
Any questions from the agency? Any questions? Going once. No questions. So at this time, I entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the grant program as submitted with the revisions.
There's a motion. On the
Second.
floor. There's a motion on the floor by Commissioner Rawls. There's a second by Commissioner Campbell. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Windstream.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. That was pretty easy. Next up, CRA plan goals and discussions and adoption.
Yes, sir. Board members, included in your packet are the revised CRA goals and strategies. Following the last meeting, there was a lot of discussion about making sure that this was more of a guiding document and did not have specific projects included in there, so that the CRA, as they go through the evolution of implementing redevelopment, has a little bit more latitude in implementing, Mr. Jones, I may leave this up to you without just saying we're looking for more of an umbrella type document. But Mr. Jones did take your recommendations, and we're not doing a presentation tonight. This is really just for distribution and to put it on the record. Mr. Jones, as well as myself and Ms. Tucker, are available for one-on-one meetings if you want to talk to each item specifically. And I believe we took a lot of the wording that said shall or would out and rephrased it to more suggestive wording. You want to say
Mr.
something?
Jones, you got anything else?
Mayor Hill, ladies and gentlemen of the commission, John Jones, SNME Project Manager, 1615 Edgewater Drive, Orlando, Florida. Good evening. We listened to the input that was received at the last meeting to develop a more guiding document, and there were 4 primary changes. We revised the goals to be more streamlined and less cumbersome. We modified the goals so that they would not include any shall or will comments from the narrative, took that out. We also placed a potential projects and program recommendations in a technical memorandum that will be separate from the actual planning document. And that is to provide maximum flexibility to the Community Redevelopment Agency when they're selecting projects and programs for implementation.
Any questions of Mr. Jones?
Mr. Mayor, to reemphasize, we're just passing this out for your review tonight
For information purposes.
and give you time to digest it. And then at the next meeting, we can field comments and go from there with it.
Okay. Any questions right now? Seeing none. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on, recruitment grant application in the amount of $35,000, $35,500, Two Keys Irish Pub. John and Catherine Key are the applicants.
Board members, just to summarize, this is a recruitment grant application. The request was for $35,500. The evaluation committee met on Tuesday, April 6th at 3 p.m. The recommendation is to award for $30,000. We do have the applicant here if there's any questions of them.
Mr. Key, can you come forward for us?
Good afternoon, board members.
If you can, counsel, just for the record, for those who may be watching, can you give a quick summary of what your plans are at this point?
Certainly. My name's John Key. My wife and I are Two Keys Irish Pub, and we are planning on remodeling, rehabbing the 314 St. John's Avenue property. Used to be the law offices of John Sproul, who passed away a few years ago. We think that every town should have an Irish pub. It's a place where, and the word pub, of course, comes from public. It's a public house. It's where people go, and not just to throw down drinks, but to talk and have conversation, good music. We plan on having lots of good Irish and Celtic groups in there, nothing loud, mostly singles, duos, and trios. It's going to be a great place. We have started the rehab on the building. The electrical and plumbing permits are, or at least the plans have been dropped off to the county as of last week. We are anxious to get started. We think it's going to be a good addition to the city. We hope it to be a destination point. Like I said, every town should have an Irish pub, and Palatka, I think, could be known for Two Keys. In addition to all the other beautiful things and great things that Palatka has to offer. I'm not from this area. I moved here 16 years ago. It is my home, and I really love this county and this town. So any questions, I'm glad to try to answer.
Any questions from the commission or from the agency?
I have some questions. So I'm in favor of this project. Let me just state that. But-
Certainly.
Okay. So you just made a statement that, and it looked like from what I read in the packet, you were going for electrical plumbing permits.
Yes.
But what you're dealing with here is really a type 2 project, type 2 remodel. It would actually require a general contractor to come in. So I'm just telling you right now that this happened recently at a project in the city where somebody went in and applied for a plumbing permit without having that in place, and the whole thing got derailed.
Well,
So-
I could cut to the chase on that. David Church is doing our contracting.
Because I saw there was a proposal from him for, and it included electrical and plumbing, then there was one from Preston and one from your plumber, and they were separate, and I thought, man, if he's gonna go down that road, you're gonna, you might as well.
No, I don't have time for
The
that.
other question is, there's a $30,000 hole in your budget. How are you gonna fill that?
Personal funds, mostly, which is what has been used all along. I do have a bank loan with an advance on it if I need to draw on that. I'm trying not to.
So you have, if we put the 35,000 up, you have the other $80,000 to finish the project, including that?
I have half of that, and the access to the other is, it's just a matter of transferring funds, really.
Okay. That was the only other concern I had.
Okay. Any other questions?
Well, I see something different here. I see where staff recommends 30,000, but the request is for 35,500.
Right.
The staff recommended 30.
So the committee, so that you know, the committee that actually reviewed the application it was me, Mr. Holmes, and Ms. Tucker.
Right.
We reviewed the application, made the recommendation.
At 30.
At
And
30.
we came back with a recommendation for 30.
Right, but then applicant
He asked for 5,500 more than what was recommended.
But we're discussing 30, correct?
Right.
That's what I thought.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just see what.
Yeah, we recommended less than what his total amount was.
You're fine with that.
And he was fine with that.
Oh, certainly.
Okay, I was just trying to make sure that everything was lined out.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And just for the record, how many jobs are you creating, including you?
There will be at least 3 full-time jobs. There will be a number of part-time jobs. That's not including my wife and myself. As anyone here who's owned a business knows, you sometimes, you're an employee, but you don't get paid. But that's in addition to us. So we're looking at hiring 3 and part-time. We're doing some catering, off-site catering as well. And so that will involve some specialized employees.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor by Commissioner Rawls, a second by Commissioner Borum. Is there any further discussion from the agency?
Mayor, we
I'm sorry, just the opposite. Twins.
The 30,000, right?
30,000, motion by Borum, second by Rawls. And so if there's no other discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Key.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Next up, request for event cost share funds, Bartram Trail Society. $2,500 for 2021 for the Bartram Frolic. Mr. Carr.
Thank you, Commissioners. We appreciate it. We're back. And we have submitted the application. We purposely tried to reduce the size of this thing, but as we're ramping up, it seems to be growing. So the center of this has always been the kids program, which is we brought all of the second graders of Putnam County down to the riverfront and gave them their first field trip. This year we did that on a virtual basis. We did it in November, and we educated 800 kids in a week period of time on the St. Johns River and through the eyes of Mr. Bartram. It was really an incredible thing. So when we launched out for and decided upon this weekend for the St. Johns River Bartram Frolic, couple of reasons. Earth Day is around the corner, and Billy Bartram's birthday is April the 20th. So we're going to celebrate both during this thing. We wanted to emphasize, as we had originally emphasized, recreational events, and sure enough, we're having 9 recreational events, including equestrian, a ride down at Dunn's Creek State Park, and Willaca. We're doing a paddle. We're doing a hike at Mount Royal. And so that's how we stress the recreational events. And then the passport to the past has always been a part of it. And that's where our living history comes in. And so we have 4 living history people showing up. We've got the Long Warrior, we've got Billy Bartram, we've got Joe Wiggins, the trader, and we've also got Fort Mose has agreed to come this time and represent Fort Mose here at the thing. And so we're looking forward to it. We're looking, I think we're all set to go. And we need the help to get it done. So that's what we're doing.
Any questions?
I do have a question. Being that I was appointed as the representative of the city, do I need to recuse myself of this, or will I be able to vote?
You're just a liaison.
Thank you.
So council, I know I may answer that for you, but I'll go ahead and let you do.
Thank you.
And listen, 3 lawyers debating something now, that's always going to be fun. And again, I apologize. It's quick on the draw today. Any other questions?
I got a question. Did you guys get any money from the Tourist Development Committee?
Yes, yes, we did. That was approved a while back and all, and it's been rolled over and so forth. previous year, we got whacked pretty heavy, but they came back with what we requested this year. So we did receive a $9,000 commitment for them. And so we're going to be doing mostly social media type advertising, but we're also advertising St. Augustine, New Smyrna Beach, and Jacksonville Beach, and other places.
I think it'd be good too if you could tell us a little bit about how big the Bartram Trail Society has grown to in the other counties,
Yeah.
especially St. John's.
Yeah, that's exactly what has happened. As we've launched this thing back in 2015, when we had our first thing here, the Bartram Trail turned into the National Recreation Trail in 2016, and that was really our first frolic, the event that we had. Subsequent to that, Volusia County came online, and they decided they wanted to have a similar type arrangement. And so Volusia County has created what they call the River of Lakes corridor. And inside of the River of Lakes corridor is the Bartram thing. So now we got Volusia County on the St. Johns River as part of it. Then after that, Duval County raised their hand and said, please come up here. And so as a request to one of their commissioners, we went up, made a presentation, and they've accepted the task of establishing a Bartram Trail in Duval County. And then after that, then St. Johns County said, well, don't leave us out. So St. Johns County is now on board and have become an affiliate and so forth. And so they're designing a Bartram Trail similar to what we have here in Putnam County. And then after that, then we visited New Smyrna, and that's Nassau County. And so they have agreed to move forward. And we just got word last month that Alachua County, through the Friends of Paynes Prairie State Park, is going to be doing the same thing. So that just about does it for the state of Florida, except for Escambia County. So I got to go out to Pensacola, see my grandkids, and get that happen.
He's been moving around so much, he put 3 counties into one.
I think what's important to notate is that if you look at Palatka in the center of all that, that really will be a good tourist driver
Exactly.
In the future for us. So it's something that we can prepare to capitalize on and help support. And I think that's part of the mission of the CRA.
Right. And the other piece was the commission came on board and adopted the resolution, just like the county did.
Exactly.
And so all those things have been critical, and the work that the Bartram Society's done has been awesome.
Right. And so the national group is called Bartram Trail Conference, and they're patterning their whole marketing strategy after what we're doing here, because obviously it's working, and it really is. It's been a wild ride. Don't really understand it, but hey, it's been fun. It's been fun. So we look forward to it. And the whole idea behind the Bartram Trail in Putnam County specifically was ecotourism. That was the whole idea behind it. And same thing with the frolic. The frolic was meant to be me and Wayne Knuckles and several people at the Rotary Club in Palatka were having a conversation. And we were talking about how there was no fall festival in Palatka. And so, we said, well, the frolic happened in 1774 in September. So why don't we do that? And so the Palatka Daily News has been a supporter of this thing all along, and the city of Palatka jumped on board through the CRA and the grant. Yet the first grant funding that we got through that enabled us to do this thing was this particular kind of grant funding. Now we have grown to where a lot of our funds are coming from the residuals left over from previous events, which that's what we would hope would have. But also the Humanities Council has jumped back on, and they're provided us with grant requests. TDC is now very supportive. And then the CARES grant, we received part of the CARES grant as well. So most of that money went to other stuff.
So is Humanities Council doing the walking tour for you as well? They've got the virtual concept called walking tours.
Right.
That they do.
Right.
Is that?
They have asked us to get that going. Yes, they have. And same thing with the speakers thing. Our speakers, they want our speakers as well.
So I think the virtual tour would be a critical piece to get folks to kind of excited before they get here to actually come physically look at it because
Exactly.
and
And that's
so-
the way we designed the website. Oh, by the way, we have now, again, as a result of all this good stuff, we have moved, the county was the one who built our website and all that, and it was built to be a virtual trail. And so that's exactly what it was. And so as a result of all that we've gone through the last few years, we have now moved off of the county website. And so the Bartram Trail Society of Florida has its own website and all standalone and all that kind of stuff.
Humanity
So it worked
Council.
out just like we thought it would.
Yeah, and they got resources to help you with that walking tour as you do the virtual trail stuff.
Exactly.
So, that's the other piece.
And just so you know as well, the Stetson University has also stepped up, and they're going to be helping us create what the walking tour type thing, but it's also called story maps. And so they're going to be working this summer. That's one of their main projects, is to start here in Palaca creating story maps for the area, which includes all tourism stuff. So,
thank you. Any other questions from the agency or comments?
I just want to commend them because I know when they first started out, I mean, basically you just had just a few people volunteering. You know, I don't know what kind of stress and strain that you currently have right now with growing with the frolic, and there's also the Bartram Trail event. And you know, hopefully you guys can continue to sustain it.
Yeah, I agree with you totally.
Definitely contributing to our tourism.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I also would like to say thank you for your commitment to making this grow bigger each year. Also to your commitment to involving the Putnam County School District. I myself have had the opportunity to come down and be with the students during that time, and just to see their excitement as the reenactments take place, it's definitely one to witness firsthand. So thank you for your commitment as well for that.
Commissioner McCaskill.
I share the same sentiments as Commissioner Campbell without going through the whole spiel, but thank you for all of the hard work and commitment that you all put in.
Thank you.
Anything else from the agency? Thank you, Mr. Carr. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. The second, is there any further discussion on the motion? All in
Question.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much. Remember,
Thank you.
Friday night, 6 o'clock at the River Center, the Rotary Club is working on a new formula. So please be there or be square. It'll be fun. We're going to have the living history people will be there as well. And hopefully we can keep them not as rowdy as before, but we'll try. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, emergency residential rehab grant application 418 River Street.
Board members, just prior to the meeting, I realized that for some reason, the quotation which outlined the scope of work wasn't in your packet, so I do have copies for distribution.
Go ahead, Mr. Carr.
I forgot to say something, and that is that Eddie Cutright and Winston have been terrific in helping us enable this to do this thing. And we've had different versions of how this thing went, but I'll tell you, this time it went smoother than I expected. So it really was nice what they've done, especially Winston. Okay.
Mhm. Thank you. Mr. Cutright, you have anything? Yeah, I see him. You can go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Mr. Cutright, yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. Well, yes, I just want to say thank you, Sam, for that wonderful shout out. But the credit goes to you, your dedication and your love and your passion for this event. It speaks for itself. So we will continue to do what we can as a city to help make that bigger and bigger and bigger. So, and I will be there Friday, and hopefully we don't get too rowdy.
All right, thank you. Next up.
Yes, Board members, we do have the applicant with us. Unfortunately, they weren't able to make a formal application, obviously, because the program wasn't adopted prior to this meeting, but we did want to place this on here for your consideration and discussion. We did meet this morning, staff. We do believe that it meets the minimum eligibility criteria as set out in the program that you just adopted. I did run some calculations just to facilitate your conversation. I know that there were a bunch of numbers being thrown around at the last meeting. But at the approved funding level of 80%, that would be 71,120 for the emergency, or at the lower end of 40%, that would be 35,560. I will ask you to take note of the emergency eligibility criteria of the new program. And one of the criteria is alternative funding is unavailable through other sources, for instance, insurance, SHIP funding, financing, et cetera, or if available would result in a hardship on the property owner. And I wanted to bring that to light because there was a lot of conversation at the last meeting of which I believe that would kind of fall underneath that criteria. So I don't have anything further unless you have any specific questions of me, but we do have Ms. Wilhite here.
Just for clarification, Mr. Griffith, you said 80% funding, but that's with a cap of 50,000. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Any comments at this point?
Just a question.
Go ahead.
So, this is pretty much the same thing we looked at last time, which I didn't have a problem with then either. We now have a vehicle in place that we can fund this through, and you're saying we can go as low as 40%, which is 35,000, or up to 50,000, which is the maximum according to the program, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And anything in between, obviously.
Can
Yes,
you
sir.
fund it? Can you fund it below the
Yes.
requested
Oh, you
amount?
can't go below 40?
Yes.
Okay.
I just did that, for illustrative purposes.
Okay, all right. I know that the plan was just up to 50,000, and I didn't think there was a threshold. I just.
Excuse me, the wording of it says that for emergency applications, it's up to 80%, but not to exceed 50,000. So 50,000.
Anything in between.
Yeah.
So what I will say is I've checked a couple different places. I actually talked to Wealth Watchers. They're doing some residential rehab. They're planning to do residential rehab in Palaca. They said that they would actually look at this particular project. They've kind of taken the information I've given, and they indicated that it would probably be eligible for $7,500 at a minimum funding from their agency. And that was basically to kind of help entities within the community that needed additional assistance based upon certain criteria. And it looks like they're going to meet that criteria. She also indicated that the Wilhouts may also be eligible for USDA funding at $7,500 based on certain criteria. The only issue that they're looking at to determine, and I think Commissioner Rawls, you may be familiar, is the fact that you're not living in the house at the current time, but they believe that based on the fact that the house is not habitable and you were forced to move out and you were living there prior to the incident, that they still may be able to qualify you based upon certain things that are in place. So there may be an opportunity there for some additional funds. They've also reached out to a couple other agencies that service the area for weatherization and some other things to see if there's some potential there. And so we know that there may be some additional funding in place. I think when I became aware initially of this project, I didn't expect us to be, looking at funding it at the $50,000 level by any stretch of the imagination. I expected us to be bridging a gap somewhere around $10,000, $15,000 as it related to certain things that were in place to kind of help out at that point. But that was just kind of the conversation initially where we were, because we later found out that there was some additional resources that were being leveraged in order to get the Wilhouts to a point where they could actually get some of the work done. And the additional scope of work was where the issues kind of came in play. And so that was kind of the thought process. I definitely think it's a worthwhile project. My biggest concern long-term is that once we start funding these type projects, it's very difficult. I think Commissioner Jones was the one that brought it up. It's very difficult to tell a citizen who lives outside the CRA that they won't be eligible for the same type of funding when they find themselves in emergency situations. The other piece of it is we've got a SHIP program, which may allow some emergency funding up to $5,000 based upon the fact that the property is not insurable at this time. And so that's the other piece of the puzzle. And then the last piece is if they get the roof done, then the property may become habitable and insurable again, which puts them in a position where they can be eligible for SHIP funding. And so I think we need to consider all those pieces, moving pieces to the puzzle as we begin to move forward with our thought process. And I just wanted to make sure I put those on the record so that we would know. But I definitely think that this is a project where programming in the CRA was designed basically to help remove blight in situations of emergency. Commissioner Jones, you got something?
I think Mrs. Wilhite, they said that she's out in the audience. I think she's still asking for the 15,000, if I'm not mistaken, and may have gotten some roof work done. But if Ms. Wilhite, can she have the opportunity, Mayor, to abreast us where they are in the process of getting this project completed? And whatever we can do as a commission, I would like for us to consider that. I understand that you did reach out and, and provide available resources for the family. And you're saying they may be able to help, but whatever we can do that, that what we know we can do, I would like for us to consider that, please.
Okay. Ms. Wilhite, or either Ms. Wilhite or our representative, would you want to come forward at this time and kind of tell us what type of progress has been made or where you are?
And Mr. Mayor, just a note, this is a reimbursement grant, so the money has to be expended first before the grant is funded.
And so city manager was just making sure that you understood there's a reimbursement grant. And so you'd actually have to spend the resources before you could get the money back.
Okay, yes, that'd be fine. We spent 10,000 to Riverside Builders. And we spent $100 to the architect. We put a down payment for $10,000 to Riverside Builders.
It's for your roof, for the work, just for the scope of work
Yeah,
period.
it's all listed on here. The scope of work.
Have they started doing any of the work at this point?
They're waiting on the permit.
Okay.
They're supposed to start anytime now.
Okay. Any questions from the agency? Commissioner McCaskill, did that answer your question?
It did answer my question, and I wanted to make sure everyone else was aware of that. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I do.
Just 1 second, Ms. Wilhite.
So I think this is just one of those difficult situations that we find ourselves in where we were kind of caught off guard as a community and not having something set up to be able to help out. But I'm in favor of expending up to $15,000 to help them along. I think that the CRA and the city of Palatka both need to be involved when we rewrite our local housing action plan for the county. It comes up due this year again. And I think that there needs to be a lot of conversation, because from where I sit on the county side, it looks like there was no thought process whatsoever in the last one that was done. It was just thrown together and signed, and there was a lot of mistakes made. But this is an opportunity for us to be able to correct that and address the areas that Commissioner Jones brings up. And you're absolutely correct. I personally find it offensive that we sit on all this money for year after year after year after year, when the money can be going out in the community and being spent in a meaningful manner. So me personally, I don't have a problem with moving this forward and getting the house fixed. The house needs to be fixed in the neighborhood. If you drive by and look at it, we don't want to lose that house. And
Yeah, it looks awful. I'm sorry.
and well, also from the strategic visioning point of view for the county, especially, we made that a point to address the historic housing in Putnam County and the city of Palatka. So I think this is just one of those opportunities where we can do something really good for the community and start looking at setting aside a policy to do this in other areas, but using leveraging the SHIP dollars that we have.
And we would have done something before now. I mean, we've been working on like the columns and the banister. My husband's been sanding it down and refinishing it, just the few things that were saved. But we didn't have the money.
Right.
You just recently came up with the money.
And physically, it's difficult as well, right? And
Yeah,
physically,
he was in intensive care for a week.
right.
So, I mean, we did design, we redesigned the program, correct, to fit the need, and, you know, they are in the CRA area where.
Program will apply to whomever submits an application.
Correct.
Assuming there's funding.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken from Jonathan, there's probably about 35,000 that can be pulled from other projects to make a fund available for
this fiscal year.
That'd be greatly appreciated.
No, that was the total. I didn't mean. I don't know what they have in mind. But that's the total.
No.
Well, so one of the difficulties you got this year is the fact that there wasn't a budget for these type items, and we're basically moving. We're moving things around, amending the budget to even develop the program. Go ahead, Commissioner. Sorry.
So, yes, again, I mean, if, just want to do whatever we can to help, and not continue to sit on the funding and move it from year to year if it's available for the.
They're supposed to start.
Improve the community.
This week, yeah.
So, I'm all for it.
Thank you. Anything else?
Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Campbell.
I just want to echo what everyone else has said. I personally drive that route every day going to work, and my eyes are often drawn to that, and it is definitely an eyesore. And I feel that we as a commission we should do our part, or the CRA should do our part to do what we are in place to do. And I do believe what Commissioner Ross said about that partnership. I think that goes back to what I spoke to about bringing that community partnership back with the county and the city. And I think this would be a great opportunity for us to do so, to see how we can move forward.
And we did always keep it nice until
Yes,
this
yes.
happened. And now they're going to take the tree down because they found out it was diseased, as we said all along.
Well, that.
I said that today. I told the city attorney today that driving by, I thought I saw a fissure in that tree, and then I thought that he would be proving whether or not it was supposed to be in the back at the time the limb fell. But in my opinion, that was a.
But wouldn't it?
That's the gift that keeps on giving.
But wouldn't it
The
be?
same arborist that said it was okay a few years ago came this week or this past week. And he said it is diseased and it does need to come down. And the new owners have agreed to take it down.
I think there may be an opportunity to go revisit something with the insurance company.
We tried that and Leonard Freeman wasn't open
It's.
to it.
That's the lawyer talking.
Well, no, well, not necessarily. The claim still goes back to the old policy, but we'll give you some free legal advice after the meeting.
Appreciate that too.
Is that the advice that's worth what you pay for it?
It's probably gonna be worth a lot more. And so, Commissioner, anybody have any other comments? I just think that this situation has opened our eyes to a severe deficit that's missing in this community when we look at the resources of all our citizens as a whole. And it doesn't matter if you live in a historic district or you live in a single family home or mobile home. I think at the end of the day, it's incumbent upon this community, the city as a whole, and I think it's something that we need to look at during our budgeting process as to how we create an emergency fund for all citizens throughout the community. My suggestion as we move forward with our budgeting, I got the finance director here and the city manager, is that we try to find at least $50,000 that we set aside in increments of 5,000 to do just the same thing when issues come up within the community as a whole, and implement the same criteria that we have for this program citywide, because there are a lot of folks who find themselves in very similar situations with no recourse. And we have a lot of older homes, and we've got folks with limited resources who live significantly below the poverty line, who can't even muster up any money to
Yeah.
do what you've done. And I think at the end of the day, we have to
had
be
to sell our business to get that money.
definitely, and that's my point. My point is you sow your business and it creates a hardship, but think about how many people don't have that business.
Yeah.
And so, and it's not anything towards the will. I think what happens in your situation, it opens our eyes to everything. And I think what's happened is there's an opportunity for us to look at some emergency assistance from residential side in totality. And I think that more than anything else, this situation allows us to be conscious of everything that goes on around us, because our hearts go out to you and to other folks who are in the same situation, but we just haven't put the mechanism in place to help them. And there are deficits in the way that the rules are set up with the SHIP program for emergency assistance, which where we've got money that's been sitting there since 2018 that we can't, but because of certain rules that we put in place, you can't help in the situations where the money was designed to help. And so those are the things that we go back and look at from the county's perspective and from the city's perspective to figure out what we can do so that we can be a better service to the people. And I think that that's the piece that's out there, and that's what's coming out of all of this, even in trying to help. And so that's just my thought process.
And I would like to say, I don't know if it makes a difference or not. My husband's great-grandfather, we both come from families that have donated their time and energy to Putnam County. He donated the land for the golf course. And my husband has stopped many times to do things for the city, for attorneys around here, for the property appraiser's office. And my dad would get calls in the middle of the night from Dr. Lawson. The hospital would need oxygen and he'd get up and do it. Or Chief Honeysuckle would call him and say, these people from out of town broke down and they've got kids. Can you help them out? And they wouldn't have any money. And my dad would do it. And I asked him why. And he said, whenever you get presented with the opportunity to help somebody,
You do it.
do it. That's why we live here.
And so I don't think anybody here is a stranger to just what type of help your husband has been, Warren Wilhite's been to this community. Now you've told us that it was family. He donated the property for the golf course. I guess that's why he's such a great golfer. And so, but he has done a lot of things. He's done a lot of things for this city and for the community as a whole, free of charge. And he's done it free of charge from his heart. And you got to almost argue with him just to pay him. And so we understand and we definitely appreciate that. And so,
thank you.
You know, definitely. So again, thank you.
If I can say one thing, I think along the lines of when you're talking the LHAP, if there's any chance at all of the CRA being able to have input into that for the homes in the area, because we're talking about north and south side historic districts, and there's a lot of need there. And being able to do one of the things that frustrates me, and it may just be the way the program's set up, we can't do anything about it, but when you're giving repair money out in $40,000 tranches, there's people that just need $8,000 or $10,000 for a roof or a new set of windows. And that goes a long way as well. So if we could, get a meeting with the county set up where the city, and I guess we can speak as a CRA at the same time because we'll all be there, but have that meeting and see what we can do collectively. But, and also, to Commissioner Jones's point, if somebody has a tree limb go through their roof and they can't afford to fix the roof and they tarp it, eventually they get cited by the city on a code case. And then you get this really vicious cycle starting out, and eventually the city ends up with the property. So I think we should be having this conversation publicly a lot sooner than later.
I agree. Jones, you start the conversation. Got any comments?
Yes, sir, I do. So in light of all facts that's been brought before us, the revamping of the policy, the Wilhite's given some history here today. I want to be the first one to actually want to entertain a motion to I moved a motion to approve this grant application for the maximum amount that we could give them.
Thank you.
Right now.
For the 50,000?
No. What we already said, the
15,000, the maximum 15,000. So there's
Second.
a motion.
Second.
There's a motion to approve at 50,000. I'm gonna give the second to Commissioner McCaskill because she's 8 seconds behind us.
Yeah, Windstream.
15,000, 15,000. There's a motion to approve it. Okay, so for
I say revamp it. Yeah, what you presented today.
you want it from reserves? Okay. And so-
15,000.
So on your motion, can you restate your motion, including pulling the 15,000 from reserves? Just,
Okay. Motion is to award the applicants 15,000 that's budgeted in reserves that we have in reserves for this program.
amending the budget, pulling from reserves.
Yeah, amending the budget to pull it from reserves.
Okay.
That's my
And
motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner McCaskill. Any further discussion on the motion? Questions called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So we're able to fund you at $15,000. Again, we hope that it helps out as far as moving forward with your endeavors. And again, thank you. And I will get with you. If you can stick around, the meeting's almost over. I'll give you the information for the other sources that may be able to help you as well.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Mayor, we want to name that, we want to name it the emergency, Will High Emergency Disaster Fund. Going forward, you know.
As long as her two daughters aren't included.
They created a whole new thing for us. I mean, they opened up our eyes to a whole new kind of support that we give to the community as a whole. So that's why I was just saying that.
Definitely. All right, moving forward to our reports. Presentation of final design for St. John's Avenue streetscape.
Sonny, Mr. Saluski should be on Zoom.
Mr. Saluski, are you?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
We hear you.
Fantastic. So,
Thank you for hanging in there with us.
oh, no problem. It's been great to be a fly on the wall during the whole discussion. I like hearing about all the good stuff you guys got going on. So in the agenda, the line item says final design for St. John's Ave. By no means is this the final design or the final iteration you're gonna be hearing from me. This will just be a update to where we are on the current project. And then I'll be giving you an update on the transportation hub or the train depot project at the same time. So for the St. John's Ave project, we are 90% done with the drawings. We've submitted them to FDOT for review at this time. We are going through finalizing grading and drainage and the final details. Once we have confirmed the design and we've gotten confirmation from FDOT, and we've got a potential construction schedule put in place, we'll come back to you. And then at the same time, we'll be going back to local business owners to give them an update on the project. The train depot project is about 95% done right now. And that's a parking lot rehabilitation and then a pedestrian circulation improvements towards the train depot. That one's moving towards construction documents. And once we have confirmation on the design, we'll bring it back to you guys again for review again. So mine's pretty quick today. So if you guys have any questions or want to discuss any of the projects in detail, feel free to reach out to Jonathan and Mandy or myself so we can discuss those at another time.
I have one question quick.
Any questions from the agency? Go ahead.
Chris, the final, you said the final design has not been drawn, but are you close enough for this to be published for the public consumption?
For St. John's Ave?
Are you close enough to having the final drawing completed so it can be published to the public?
Yes, but in order to not produce something that's misleading, we need to verify that final design with FDOT and budget. So we're real close. We're just not quite there.
Okay. I had somebody ask me that the other day.
Could you tell us how far out you are and when we can expect to see the approval from FDOT?
You know, I wish I could give you an actual date and time. FDOT is saying right now their review time is 5 weeks out. So roughly 5 weeks from now, we'll know where we're at with FDOT approval and budget.
Thank
I
you.
wish it was, I'm pushing them to make shorten that review time a little bit, but there's not a lot of say and pull I got with FDOT.
Okay, any other questions?
Thank you all.
Thank you. No action needed on this. North TIF informed me they wouldn't be here. South TIF is not in here. So SBDC is already gone. Is there anything else from the agency or anything? Mr. Griffith?
I just want to say the contractor's coming back to work on the level of the House speakers, so they're already aware of that.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Hey, they're a lot better than the old ones. They're a lot better than those square wooden ones that were there.
They do work.
Pastor Mulberry, this is how you keep it at your church, right? Anything else from the agency? And so anything from Commissioner, all right, but Commissioner McCaskill.
Commissioner Jones is to go.
Ms. Kemp, anything?
No, sir. Thank you.
Commissioner
I'm
McCaskill,
sorry.
anything?
Oh, okay. And nothing, I just want to congratulate everyone that were able to see funding today from us. And thanks for all the hard work that the agency put in to make sure that happened.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Campbell,
I have nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Commissioner Jones,
No comment.
Commissioner Borum.
No comment. I just share the same sentiment as Commissioner McCaskill.
That's a comment. Commissioner Rawls. Again, Plaque is a great place to be, and it's filled with some great people, and we hope that we've been able to be a help to many, and we thank those who've stepped out here today, and we're looking forward to new businesses and new opportunities.